Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. Today we are reviewing, well actually unboxing and checking out the Titan from, this is an ROV, underwater ROV from Janino. This is a big guy and it's got a grabber arm attachment which can't even fit in the suitcase, so we're gonna have to see how that all works. This is gonna be a series of videos. This first one is gonna be the unboxing and inspection and checking out how it looks like on the iPad and how everything kind of works out of the water. Then we're gonna do a pool test, make sure everything's working, learn the controls in another video, and then we'll finally get out into the ocean. So let's see what this thing's all about. Okay, so first off, you're gonna see that it comes in this suitcase. It's got handles here. It's basically just like a roller suitcase. I'll go ahead and just kind of move around so you guys can see what it's all about. It's got 4 roller legs on it, so you guys kind of have an idea of how you're gonna get it. It's one of those push button and pull out kind of handle things there. You can see how that works. Excuse the mess in the background. Just have a really busy week this week. And I think this would be a good time to mention, give a little shout out to a fan and a subscriber, Chad McCollum over in Colorado, US. He actually sent me these whisk scissors. He said that he saw some of my videos trying to unbox some items and I was using just kind of household scissors, and he sent me these and he said, you know, I built my basement partially with these scissors and they're just kind of indestructible, durable, super durable scissors. So thanks a lot, Chad, for sending these. I'm going to be using these in a lot of my unboxings and we'll just see how they work. For the time being, we'll just kind of use them to cut off this plastic and stuff, even though it's super easy to cut anyway. While we're at it, we'll just get all this stuff. Wow, it just like slices through that like butter. Thanks a lot, Chad. I really appreciate that. Big shout out to you over there in Colorado, and I hope you're doing well. Thanks a lot. Okay guys, here we go, moment of truth. Let's open this suitcase up, and there we go. There's the Titan in there. Let's just get that top over, focus in on this thing, and check this out. So that's everything in the suitcase aside from, remember, we do have the grabber arm over there on the right, so we're going to be putting that on in just a second and seeing how that works on the table too. Look at this. So this is a, how many motors is this? This is a 6 motor ROV. Kind of just pull it out of the case. You can see how it has 2 motors, horizontal motors on the back, and then it has 4 vertical motors. Let me just get this all out and then we'll put the suitcase on the ground, and so we have lots of room and look at it really more in depth. But there's the instruction manual. This is going to be the actual Wi-Fi module here that magnetizes onto the rolling reel. This is the tether reel. So pretty cool. This is wireless. It's got these antennas. We'll check this out in just a second. Here's the controller. So iPad or Android, depending on what you want to use, there's the controller there. Cool, we've got filters. Look at that. So that's a rose filter or a red filter. Here are some ballast weights, regular micro USB cable here. And then we've got the power plug into your wall with a little figure 8 adapter on the other side. And this is going to be the actual power brick charger. See how we put the figure 8 plug in there. And then this is where we're going to actually plug in the sub. So it's one of those, what is that, 4-pin connectors there with a little black O-ring on there. So we'll plug that into the sub to do the charging. I believe it's got the same kind of 4-pin on the little Wi-Fi module. Plug that in there too to charge it. The last thing, guys, is the reel. So this is the tether reel, another 4-pin connector there. And they were telling me, I think they said this is 150 meters of tether, so a huge amount of tether. We're not going to be really very limited with depth here. This has like a magnetic deal here, so you see how that's got a magnet on the bottom center, and this little guy is metal, so that just like snaps right in there. Freewheeling while you have your sub down. A really nice compact reel though. Check this out. For 150 meters of tether, it's got this little freewheeling knob here, so you can turn the reel like this easily. It's got grab points on 2 corners on top, so you can easily grab this thing, take it around. This feels like metal, and then it's combined with like plastic. This thing is kind of metalish here. Okay guys, so let's do a little bit of a closer look at the Titan before we kind of power it on and put the iPad up and connect everything. Pretty nice looking camera here, and this is where we're going to be able to put on those filters. We did get a kind of a rose filter and a red filter. Let's just check out this red filter really quick before we go any further. And I'm kind of curious to see how these actually go on the front here. So if you look closely, you can see there's 4 corners, there's 4 sides of this circle filter that actually have these little kind of tabs on them. So not really any way to do it except for just kind of sliding it on. And basically that's it. You just push it on and you make sure it's clipped evenly around that little top ring, and that's your filter on there. So there you go, really easy way to put on the filters. Looks like they're not going to be pulling off. Of course, if you hit something hard, you might crack this. Let's see how easy it is to take them off. So just give it a little bit of a pull from the side, and there you go. This is actual metal, guys. So if you do hit stuff, it looks like they were already using this. This may have been a test model here, and they're making sure it worked before they sent it to me. Here are the LED lights. So we have one on each side, you can see there on the left and right, and they're actually coming off the front vertical propeller here. So we have super high power LEDs. Don't forget, I'll have all the links in the description so you can check out the actual specs on all this stuff. We have our vertical motors. There's 4 of them. So I've got 2 of them in shot here, and they just kind of protrude off the body, and they're kind of up, pointing up there. And then we have interesting fin on the back, so like a horizontal fin here, and then there's a little vertical kind of clear epoxy fin coming up on top where the connector is. And there are the 2 rear motors, left and right side. Looks like it is just a plastic propeller in there, but it's pretty deep inside, so you're really not going to get anything caught in there unless it passes way through these guardrails here. On the bottom, bringing this up, here is the connection port. So right now it's sealed off. If we unscrew it, we can pull that down, and it's just basically a female 4-pin port for that grabber arm. Remember that grabber arm? And I think they're going to have a couple of more things like sonar. We'll actually just leave this off because we're going to put that grabber on there pretty soon. And this is kind of the railing. Remember those weights we got? So we got a couple of baggies of these ballast weights, remember? And if you absolutely did want to put these on, these are little spring-loaded pins. Very, very interesting here. And as you slide this up, let's slide it in the bottom. They actually push that pin down, and then let's see if it clicks in. That little weight is sitting there and it's not going to come off. It's pretty tight in there. But you can still, if you wanted to, I guess you could put a screw in there, but it looks like it's tight enough. It's not going to come off on its own. And then you just pull them off and slide them off, and there you go. You got your little ballast weights. Feet, or the platform that this thing rests on, is just this kind of metal sled here. There are screws, stainless steel screws here, so you could take the whole sled off if you wanted to. But I'll probably leave that on, especially since I'm going to have the grabber arm on there. Be a little more protection for it when we're on the bottom. On the very top, we do have a plug here, a nice silicone plug that fits very well. And that is plugging up the connection port. This plug really fits good. Some of the subs I review that are very early editions, these things don't even fit properly, but this one does very well. Okay guys, what do you say we go ahead and connect this thing, put the iPad up on the controller, and see how all this works. So first thing we want to do is make sure we connect this module. So just screwing it on nice and easy. Nothing too special there. Just make sure it's nice and tight. This thing does seem like it's pretty sealed up. I wouldn't dunk it in water, but I think it's going to be okay from a few splashes. So we'll pull up these antennas. It looks like you're maybe going to want to kind of situate your cable a little bit, and that's why they give you these little clamps, so you can kind of slide this down a little bit so this cable isn't like sticking out and hitting things while you're kind of winding it. So that thing is definitely ready to go, and now all we need to do is connect it to the submarine. So we take the other end that's coming out of the reel. Now something interesting you'll notice here, this doesn't have any extra anchor. A lot of the subs out nowadays have some kind of extra anchor to clip to, so it takes more of the stress off the cable, but I'm not seeing that on the Janino, so hopefully that's not a problem with this one. Okay, so we want to screw that in nice and tight so it's completely waterproof. And now it looks like we're ready to go. We're ready to boot this up, and there we go. The lights are coming on automatically. You can see that. So hopefully you can kind of see that on the Wi-Fi module. I have 2 lights. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actual lights here, but there's 2 in the front lit up and then 2 on the end lit up. So here is the controller they shipped to me. It just says Janito on the back. You see how far it can actually extend? So you could actually fit an iPad Pro in there if you wanted to. I'm just going to be using, for this instance, just my iPad Air 2. And so you put your thing in there like that, and then you flip it over, and you can kind of lock it. So let's go ahead and connect this thing up. So first thing we do is over on the left, we turn it on. Looks like we have to press home to kind of turn it on. Submarines folder here. Let's go into Janito app. And let's see what this is all about. Turn on Bluetooth control. Okay. Start searching. Allow to use Bluetooth. Yes. Let's see if we can connect up here. Oh, cool. I'm seeing solid lights there. That means it connected. Since this is Wi-Fi connecting to that little guy over there, we're probably going to need to go to our settings. Okay. And we're going to need to go to Wi-Fi. And we need to look for the Janito, right? So there it is right there. So I'm just going to click on it. 4 8s and 4 6s for the initial Wi-Fi password. So in case you're wondering, you just pop that in. Make sure you connected to the Janito there. And then actually I would start your app. I know I already started it, but I'm kind of doing it slightly backwards. But let's see if it's now connecting. Okay, so it looks like it wants to go through the Bluetooth request again. So definitely, there we go. So I got solid red again. Definitely connect to the Janito wireless before you do this. And check that out. Now it says connected. So we're apparently ready to go. We have device, community, underwater zone, and your album where you've been taking your photos. We have a little options menu up on top. Let's just check that out real quick. App upgrade. It's not going to let me do this because I'm now connected to this Wi-Fi, so I have no more internet connection right now. Firmware upgrade, Bluetooth controller, about, and help. So we're going to kind of bypass all that right now. We're just going to click on connected and see what happens. And there we go, guys. Check it out. Here's how it looks. Look at the latency from my hand moving the sub. Gosh, it's kind of pretty bad, actually. Maybe it's because it's so darn close to that Wi-Fi module, but anyway, that's how the latency looks like. It's kind of skipping in and out. Hopefully that'll be better once we get it in the water. Let's look at our screen real quick. So up on the top, we've got our direction, our controller, time since it's been on, depth, temperature of the water, actual millisecond latency time. That's pretty interesting. 32 millisecond right now. Battery power, and then we have options up here. We can go into our album, ROV album or local album. We'll go back. We have auto balance. So this looks like it's going to auto level. You can either turn that off or on if you wanted to possibly do some acro. Compass correction. So that's a compass calibration. They did inform me you definitely need to do this kind of in the area you're going to be diving. Environmental settings. So we've got freshwater or saltwater. Left or right setting. So left-hand model or right-hand model. That's just probably going to be the type of control you're going to have when you're moving the sticks around. Unit setup. It's at metric right now. I am a British guy. I like my imperial units, so I'm going to hit that. Good to have that option. More info. We have our current, our voltage, battery percentage, water pressure, internal humidity inside the sub, I guess. It's at 18%. Internal temperature, 105 degrees Fahrenheit in there. Cooking away. We've got a user guide. Oh, that's neat. So that pops up right when you hit user guide, and it shows you all the things I'm talking about right now and what they are. So great thing to have there at any time you want to go and check that out. Firmware version, storage. This looks like it's a 32 gig internal storage. So I've got basically 29 available right now. And then you've got a factory reset on the bottom. Those are all the settings. A camera to video button there. Looks like it switches very quick. Nice. Take a picture. Boom. That's going to be your photo. Start and stop video. Boom. There we go. You can see it's ticking away on the top right with our timer, stop video. Camera settings here. So I just pressed it and we have the option to go into shot, interesting, bursting, time gap, streaming quality. So that's going to be the quality that you're going to see on your iPad or your portable device here. And we're going to go to video. We have our resolution. So this is where you can pick between, it looks like 4K and 1080. Those are the only two options. Leave it in 4K. Format, H.264 or H.265. File max length. So this is where it's going to stop recording and restart. Just in case something happens where it gets corrupted, it's good to have kind of a segmented recording time. So I'm going to leave it at 5 minutes. Watermark switch. So if you want the Janino watermark on your video, you can turn that off and on. That's great. Some sub companies don't allow you to do that yet and turn it off. So I'm glad these guys are doing it. Pretty neat, guys. It looks pretty awesome. If you did want to control it from the screen, wow, it's already making sounds. You hear that? Up, down. Actually, this is up and down. You can see these arrows on here. And then this is the tilting. Look at this. We can tilt down. This one does a 45 degrees tilt and hold, just like a lot of the newer subs can do. So that's the left and right for that. And then it tells you the actual degree of tilt that's in. That's pretty cool. Speed mode. So low is L, M is medium, and then hit it again, H is high. Of course, we can also use these ones here. See that? Forward, back, left, right, and then up, gaining altitude and dropping in depth. Okay, the left bumper started recording video. And let's see the left bottom bumper. Oh, that's doing our pictures. So right now it's doing picture bursting. I saw up on the top right there. Press it again, stop our photos. So left photos and videos. Let's see what the right hand side does. Okay, that's our lights. Oh, and I just saw a notification pop up. Less than 30 centimeter depth, light could not be adjusted. Okay, so that's what that means. You see that? It's going away kind of quick. But that means you have to be lower in the water to be able to adjust the lights. Just clicked in the left thumbstick and check that out. On the bottom left, I think this is the headlock. That turned blue. You see that? So that's going to actually lock the head, I think, in one direction. We go into actually our options here and we go user's guide. Yeah, holding yaw. So that's what that was. So for some reason, that's going to really lock in your yaw. I don't know why it wouldn't lock in when you're controlling it. So we'll have to see how that all works when we're diving. Let's try and press the right hand stick. Oh, neat. That's depth lock. See that right there? Turned blue when I pressed it in. Let's press it again, turn it off. User guide. Holding deep. So a depth hold. Anyway, kind of neat. It does have a depth lock you can turn off and on. That's great. So we have our compass up there you see on the left. As I turn the controller, it's showing you which way the iPad is facing. It seems to be working correctly. Show you what happens when I turn the sub. You see that little red dot? So that little red dot is kind of moving around the circle too. So that is the sub direction. And then if we tilt the sub, I'm just picking it up. You see how it directly corresponds with the actual graphic on how the sub is tilting. So I'm going to tilt the sub up, and you see how the sub is tilting up. So that's actually really, really valuable. When you're down deep, guys, and you're using these ROVs, sometimes it's pitch black and you're trying to reach the bottom, or it's very murky. Say you're trying to explore a very murky lake or pond and you have no idea which way you're facing. These guys are really, really valuable, because if you didn't have this, you wouldn't know which direction you're going, right? So being that you can look and you can see, oh, I'm pointing down, I know I need to go down until I hit the bottom or whatever you're seeking. That is really, really valuable. That's pretty much all I wanted to do for showing how the interface kind of looks on the sub. Let's go ahead and try and connect this arm on there, that grabber arm, and see how that does. Okay guys, now this is where this sub gets really interesting. Now you see this thing, this is the grabber arm. Janino states that this can hold clamping force, 13 pounds of clamping force, so that's pretty awesome. Of course it's only going to hold and pull up whatever the sub can, but you also can just pull on that tether, right? If you can't bring whatever object you're trying to get up. Janino actually has a video of them testing, lifeguard testing, this thing grabbing a underwater dummy in a ship in a training facility, and this actually pulled a human, a dummy human, up by the arm to the surface. So pretty interesting. Go ahead and check that out if you want. I'll have their link in the description as well, and also where you can get this sub. But here is what is interesting to me, and a little bit of a engineering shortcoming on this submarine. Look at how small these screws are. So these are tiny little screws with very narrow shafts, and 6 of them are supposed to hold this whole arm on here. Now the physics of this whole thing, this is a big arm, and they're supposed to hold this arm on the bottom of this just like that, how they slip into these notches. Now I've already kind of stripped out one of these, and I had to kind of do my own re-drilling on this to make it work, and that in itself is kind of proof that they need to re-engineer this and make it a little more durable. Same kind of plug that you would plug in the sub to the tether. It only can go in one way, it has a notch. Screwing that thing in really finger tight, then pushing all 6 of these little guys down on the notches. You definitely don't want to put a couple in and then give it some slack and have this thing rotating, you know what I mean? Or else it's really going to ruin your day, because these are so thin that if there's, say, 2 in the front and this thing picks up, it's going to bend or break the screws. So really hold this thing down and space them out evenly. This is actually the one that I had to re-drill the hole because I messed it up. So, you know, like I was saying, a little bit of maybe engineering reconciliation they can do here on this attachment. All they really need to do is make the receiving end, the nut side, a little larger, and in turn they can put larger screws in there. So there it is, guys. That's with the arm on and all attached. You can see how it's just about double the length of the unit, so it sticks out a whole unit length in front of it. So you have a pretty long arm there, all connected again. And check this out. So remember the top right bumper, top and bottom bumper used to be for the lights. Now I cannot adjust the lights through this bumper, but what I can do is I can close the claw now. Check this out. The bottom right trigger, check it out. So I can press it little by little, it closes, or I can press and hold and it closes all the way. And look at that, it closes all the way, it kind of overlaps. And then if we want to open it, go ahead and press this. You can do little by little or full on pressing like that. We can also control it right here directly from the iPad. Now the claw button wasn't there before until we connected it. And here we go. So we have a close icon and an open icon. So if I press close, you see that? So it's going little by little, or I can press and hold it and it will close all the way up. So if you do have the claw on, you're gonna have to definitely control your lights through the app like this. I switched it to H.265 in the video codec, and it seems to be a little more reliable on the connection there. See that? Not so much choppiness. Still a little bit, but definitely not as much as before. If you go ahead and go into the camera settings here, so 720p, and then the video format H.264 actually. Let me try to go to H.265. And let's see if that makes any difference. Either way, totally cool though. You can also see what the latency is there with my hand. So it looks like it's going to be kind of off and on. You know, with these Wi-Fi connections, you're going to get a little bit of lag depending on how far away from the module you are. But I think that kind of does it, guys. I kind of wanted to crush a little bottle or can, so let's get a little like empty water bottle and see if that thing can kind of crush it. Wow. Actually not bad at all. It did bottom out with about an inch to go. And if I kind of pull it over here, you can see how much it crushed that bottle. So of course, as it gets closer, it's going to have a little bit more tension. So let's release the bottle. And let's go ahead and start with the can. I'm kind of giving it little by little. See that? Wow, it seems to go more and more. That's gonna, whoa, completely max out. Man, it's really crushing that thing though. So quite a bit of crushing strength. And it's really hard to pull that out. Let me see if I can pull it out. So I could pull it out. And let's see what the damage is here on the can. It just completely smashed the center of that can, and it actually cut it, me pulling it out. So this is gonna be a quite of a tight gripper arm. Yeah, man, wow. If you really wanna get a good grip on it, just keep hitting that close button and you'll really max out the grabbing strength. That's more powerful, I want to say, than that Deep Trekker arm. Remember, the only other sub I tested that had an arm was the Deep Trekker. That submarine was a little bit wobbly, but we're going to test this one out in the water, pool, and ocean environments next. So stay tuned, guys, and don't miss that one. I'll go ahead and have the series pop up here and also be in the description if you do want to see how this thing performs in the pool, in the ocean. I really like to see how the subs control in like a controlled environment in my little pool. So that's why I do the pool test first, just to make sure I know how to use all the controls before we go into the kind of unknown environment and variables of an actual ocean environment with currents, and you got sand, you have rocks, you have the ability to possibly get your tether tangled and stuff like that. So it's definitely a lot more dangerous in the ocean. So that's why I really like to do it in the pool. Let's talk about what I'm a little bit concerned about. Again, main thing on this arm are those screws, the mounting screws. But hey, you know what? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, maybe that's something they can improve. I should also mention I would like to see a possible compartment in the case for this. There was no compartment in the carry case, that suitcase. So this arm is definitely much newer than the original Titan. So I'm hoping that they can put some kind of compartment in that case, because as you buy this now, there's no way to store it in that suitcase. So you're going to have to carry that separate, maybe like in a tripod bag or something for now. Arm seems to work very, very well. The only other thing I'm worried about is a little bit of the lag on the video and a little bit of choppiness, but it seems like if you adjust some of the settings, like bringing it down to 720p and going between the H.265 and 264 video codec, then that might actually mitigate that freezing problem in the video, depending on the device you are having. I do have the iPad 2 Air, and of course this is the controller they gave to me, so this is how it's working for me. Maybe a little bit different on Android devices. Anyway, guys, that's the Janino Titan. I think they're calling it the Titan T1. So congratulations on making it through this long but detailed video, and I will see you in the water tests. Hope to see you there, and thanks for watching.